All right, it says we're live. I believe we're live. We welcome in everybody joining us on Twitter X or X Twitter or whatever it is, and our YouTube live channel. You guys use that United Supermarkets text line today, 806-772-0197. And everybody with us on Facebook Live as well. We'll let you guys jump in. The Raiderland Rewind show coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. The game ended so late last night. It was like, all right, I know how this is going to go. Let's just keep our powder dry, let things settle down, and we'll have an enjoyable broadcast on Sunday afternoon. A rare Sunday afternoon broadcast, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So you guys know what to do. The early arrivals, let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Give us thumbs up, give us hearts, whatever it is, and then of course you can share it with your friends out there. We always appreciate that. Thumbs up from Brad. Or rather, James, Brad jumping in, Dennis jumping in, and everybody else getting in on Twitter X and on YouTube. Again, use that United Supermarkets text line. We'll get your thoughts in on last night's double overtime loss for the Red Raiders. 806-772-0197 as we hang out here in the Arctic Air Studios. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Pizza just all weekend long sounded good. Labor Day tomorrow. You don't have to cook out, you know? Yeah. And then, that's funny, by the way, David. And then, of course, brought to you by Pete's Tire Service, Ropesville, Texas. They serve the South Plains. Roadside assistance, you need them on your phone. The app, the website, the number, you need Pete's Tire Service because you never know. You never know when you're going to break down around here with that tire. And I tell you what, they put those lug nuts on so tight these days. Good luck getting it off if you don't have a good air gun sometimes. All right, let's get it rolling, shall we? In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans. And good afternoon, West Texans. And all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. Ryan Hyatt here, theraiderland.com, the website. Welcome to well, let's try it again. Raiderland Rewind. Easy for me to say when I don't do it after the game. It's hard to do. And I've only been doing Rewind since I totaled it up last year. And I didn't do it every year, but the first year I did the Texas Tech postgame show was about 1992. So we go back to 1992, being with Texas Tech fans after great wins, after bad wins, going on doing the scoreboard show, and everything and anything in between. So no stranger to the postgame show. In fact, I have a lot of respect for the guys who have to go on after the game and had to sit there and wait last night. And you know it's going to be a beatdown. I have the luxury, indeed, Damon, the talking box is on, saying, hey, we'll see everybody Sunday afternoon, 5:30. We'll take a look at the Tech game, the Big 12 big flop, and find out what people are thinking. So jump in, get your comments in. 806-772-0197 on the United Supermarkets text line, just like the radio show. As we mentioned, we're coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios. Fall seems to be a distant, far away on the horizon thing right now. So you're going to need to keep that air Arctic. Call the bear if it's not Arctic. Also by Domino's Pizza. Get the app. Fantastic. Coupons available on the app, on the website. You got to do it. Domino's.com. In the aforementioned Pete's Tire Service in beautiful Ropesville, Texas, serving all the South Plains roadside assistance. All right. So the quick rundown of the game. They showed up and got shown the door. Still have indigestion, says Damon. And then 15 minutes of us. That was pretty good. Yeah, that's what it felt like, 15 minutes or so. So, yeah, I felt like that was the recipe for how to lose on the road as a favorite. I felt like it was shades of the old Spike Dykes. Certainly, my gosh. I mean, we came out, balls of fire, great balls of fire, certainly. And then wheels fell off. We started shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, my goodness, our ox was in a ditch. But I'll tell you what, though, correct that. Hey, Bob, they give scholarships too there in Wyoming. They do. It's a big state, and my goodness, they just got after it. They're a different breed of cat last night. Really, that's what it was. That's what we ran into. They just kind of turned into a rolling ball of butcher knives. We just couldn't get the gun out of our hand. But hey, sun come up. We'll be Red Raiders tomorrow. Peyton watching Scott, there'll be a deluge of disappointment and unhappiness. Oh, yeah, there typically is. David, bigger, stronger, faster than ever before. so we can get farther out of position quicker than we ever have. Nice. Shot ourselves in the groin. That just sounds incredibly painful, but factual. And that's what it was. And we'll roll through your comments as we go through. As good a start as you could get. You also have had all summer to work on your opening script of plays. And it sure felt like after that opening script of plays was gone, the offense went into a hibernation in the hills there of Wyoming. Hills, mountains, whatever you go. I keep working on these cheap analogies, and they're just not really coming through for me today. The thoughts on Kitley's play calling? Yeah. I don't know if it was predictable because, again, I still don't know what I'm seeing. Sad there was no buzzard puke reference in that spike round. We look like, certainly, Dan, I mean, you can say that if you want to. We look like warmed up buzzard puke by the time it was over. The uniforms were okay. It was an okay combination. But yeah, it was the recipe for disaster. The offense stopped dictating. They stopped dictating what was going to happen. And I said last night on Twitter, you can agree or disagree, that's fine, doesn't matter to me. Wyoming did a hell of a lot better job last night of being Wyoming than Tech did of being Texas Tech. Texas Tech, after the opening haymakers that they threw, quit being Texas Tech. Yeah, helmet sticker, Ludwig Aubert wins them the Euromasters. Recovery spin, this game will not define us. Oregon opens -7, 60.5. And I think it's gone up a little bit on the total to 64. Opened at 6.5, went to 7. So Wyoming didn't panic. Wyoming kept doing what they do, and they did it without some of their better run game pieces. Yeah, the urgency stopped at 17-0. But it also makes me wonder, again, after the scripted element of the play calling, where were we going with this? Thoughts on McGuire's in-game interview. He couldn't even muster up the usual coach speak. It was weird. I haven't seen him enough in in-game interviews to tell you what he's going to say and how he's going to handle it. We're getting to that, James. Don't worry. We're getting there. So, yeah, the urgency was gone, and you stopped dictating tempo. And Wyoming didn't panic. Wyoming didn't try to be hair-on-fire team. They said, fine, we will absolutely grind you down, control the pace, snap the ball with 6 seconds on the play clock. I think they showed that graphic at some point. We told you last week that's what they were going to do, and they did it, even though they were down 17-0. And they pulled the air out of Texas Tech, and Tech allowed it to happen. It was very much like watching a basketball game where a team gets off to a nice start, big lead, but the other team just said, that's fine. We'll chip at you. We'll chip at you. And Wyoming did just that. And Texas Tech never really adjusted. And that was both offense and defense. Wes Kitley. Damn it, Wes. Come on, coach. Zach Kitley going to catch a lot of hell. That's fine. Tim DeRuyter might catch some hell, too. Joey McGuire will catch some hell. That's fine. You were a 14-point favorite. You lost on the road. Hadn't won a road opener outside the state of Texas since 1966 when they went to Kansas and won. That's what happens when you schedule powerhouses over the years like USC and Penn State and Florida State and Wyoming. Bound to happen. So you combine the pace. Yeah, Peasley was impressive. Peasley there. Auto-corrected happens. They looked ready to quit. Didn't like getting hit. Seemed to enjoy running the ball. I never thought he looked ready to quit. I thought he was getting the hell beat out of him at times. He came back from head injuries last year. I have a lot of respect for the guy. I didn't see any quit in that guy. I saw a guy who kept coming into the game after they would put their version of the Belldozer in for a couple of plays, and it was always going to be a designed running play until late. I didn't see that. But you got up 3. When you're up 3 scores, foot on the neck, you increase urgency. Cut their off. Kill them all! Yes, and let God sort it out. And that's what didn't happen. So how do you get to that point? How do you go from 17 up to even to down 3 to lucky to go to overtime? Gino? Yes. Thank you. I was waiting on that all game long. Thank you, Gino. You have a couple of turnovers that give it right to them when they need it. You don't take advantage of the turnovers when you get it. You have a penalty that just snuffs the life right out of it. When you have a chance really to put it, because if you'd gotten up 24-0, you win. You know, you let a home team hang around. It is deadly. By the way, United Supermarkets text line open for your comments, thoughts. If you're on Twitter, X, and or YouTube, we want to hear from you. 806-772-0197. Labor Day shopping done. You're ready to cook out. Oh, you forgot a few things? Head over to your local United in Market Street. They got you taken care of. All your grilling essentials and everything you're going to need for tomorrow. So you don't take advantage of the turnover. You turn it over. You leave that crack. And then it's not so many penalties. It's the penalties you get and what happens with them. Every single penalty Texas Tech got last night was low IQ football penalty. Every single one. Personal fouls on defense, false starts on offense, pass interference. Every penalty you got was low IQ football penalty. And 4 of your 5 defensive penalties, as pointed out by head coach Joey McGuire in the postgame press conference, 72-20, put Wyoming in the red zone. Almost directly led to Wyoming points that they may or may not have gotten otherwise. So there's your recipe for getting your ox in a ditch, shooting yourself in the foot, and turning the other team into a rolling ball of butcher knives, which they really weren't at any point. Certainly, my gosh, Chris, we ran out of bullets. Old Raider Red, he had so many holes in his hat, he couldn't lift it up and got a drink out of a stock tank with it. You cannot do that. I thought I was watching Wells coach again. I've had some people mention that. That really, though, because I used the Spike Dykes reference with Joey McGuire, I'm going to go back to Spike because I think Joey has a lot of the great qualities of Spike Dykes. And that last night was the first Spike Dykes performance. Now, I say all this so I can get to this off the text line in one of the comments. We've been bamboozled. At least I have been. I drank the Kool-Aid. Double T Dad. Okay, first off, now I have to explain how drinking the Kool-Aid is stupid and dumb. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. It kills you. A lot of people say I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. They think it means it's good. It's bad. Everybody at Jonestown died. Never say I drink the Kool-Aid. How are you bamboozled? Why were people acting like last night was the norm? Why were people acting like last night, they bought into their hype? Why were people acting like last night they were sold a bill of goods? Because nothing about the Joey McGuire tenure matches that. Nothing about what you saw last year with this team matches that. And I think this team was prepared. I don't think this team went out and played uninspired football. But this idea that, hey, here it is, year 2, same stuff, hype machine, where's that coming from? It comes from the beat down fan syndrome. I used to call it the battered wife syndrome at Texas Tech, but as I got older, I realized, okay, that's probably not an analogy that I need to use. So the beaten dog syndrome, that a lot of Tech fans have been beaten down for so long that they just cover up and they can't accept prosperity, and they think, well, here we go again. I don't think this was a here we go again thing because I haven't seen that. I think that's what made it so shocking is that this team did get up 17. That this team did get up 17 and then didn't close the deal, because that hasn't been what you've seen out of this program with Joey McGuire. That's why it was startling, not because that's what you've seen, not because that's been the MO, not because that's what they do. Low IQ football. How do you fix that? You beat the hell out of the players. You run them to death till they puke. You go over and over and over into their brain that will lose you football games. You make them hate life and hate each other. You let Private Pile eat the donut while they do the push-ups. Hi, Craig. Glad you're watching. Weston's can't bet on the promise. You only deal with scoreboards. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds super intelligent. The statistics were fascinatingly irrelevant last night, too. The inside the numbers stats, the everything, fascinatingly irrelevant. Speaking of facts, Tech fans quit almost immediately, did they? I wasn't anywhere where I could watch Tech fans quit. Like betting and training mules. Boy, and if you've ever trained a mule. That if you looked at just the numbers of this game, you would not have a feel for how this game played out. Even if you went quarter by quarter. How many low throws did Shuck have? Oh, I don't know. He was 31 to 47. Was up to you. How many low throws did he have? He had a lot of on-time throws. He had 66. Yeah, let's try it again for our English-speaking audience. 66% completion, 143 quarterback rating, 338, 31-47. That's a winning quarterback day, or it should be. You have to do all the other things that you didn't do and did do to get there. Now, some stats do tell the true story. And your average yards per play was 5.4. That's under 6. That's not acceptable. Anyone got a kicker? You got a kicker. Gino Garcia is a good kicker. He'll be fine. One was low. Made one, then they said, no, you got to do it again, miss one. I'm not worried about the kicker. I said with 3 minutes to go on Twitter, we're about to learn about this team. You learned that they responded down that stretch. I like that. That's a good positive. You got a kicker, you're fine. The rushing numbers are obviously padded late and with overtime in total. So that doesn't tell you all you need to know. So let's go into, I need some of the deeper stats right now. Hold on here. I want comparison. I want advanced. I want quarter. There we go. So second quarter only. Why do you do that to me? Come on now. Advanced stats, quarter half cumes. You got to be very careful what buttons you push on this thing. You didn't run the ball enough is what I'm getting at. Second quarter only. 9 rushing attempts, 3.9. Third quarter only, 7 rushing attempts. And then your fourth quarter, you had 6 rushing attempts. Your average was negative 0.8. I didn't see the commitment to the run game that I was expecting. And the run totals, again, when you look at the full game, your average yards per rush adjusted, but your average yards per rush, 2.8. They were 3.9. And again, I'm not going to go through all these numbers. You can go back and look at some of the advanced and some of the comparisons and go, wow, when Tech needed to run it, they had this positive deal and this positive. You can point to a lot of the positive stats, but it didn't translate. But your adjusted rush total, sack adjusted, was 110, 3.7 compared to 179, 4.3. This team, this program's got to run the ball better. And that's a Joey McGuire mantra. That is a Zach Kidley mantra. I don't know that falls into the predictable standpoint there, Bob. It's just they didn't do it. You got Taj Brooks. I like Cameron Valdez. Run it. Run the ball. It's okay to have some time of possession. And you knew they were going to try to take it from you. Seems Wyoming found out they could hang and out footballed Tech. Yeah, they did. The tenacity and desire to win this game was on the Cowboys side, says Scott. Fans coming on the field afterward shows the support they have. They've won more at home over the last 5 years than Tech has. You need an O-line. I was told we had one. Yeah. Wilbur gets hurt last night. Don't know his status. Early on, again, we do the early on thing. Scripted. Texas Tech. Every man had an advantage, offensive and defensive line, against Wyoming, physically. After the early haymakers, I didn't see that. Now, I saw the defense get some penetration. I saw the defense just barely miss getting home. I mean, we can go over the final overtime touchdown play, and that's a half-second play. I'm going to be a hero if it's a half second to me. You're going to be a hero if it's a half second to you. Credit Peasley for standing in there drilling it. But for the most part of the night, again, we talked about dictating tempo, and Wyoming dictating tempo and dictating terms. You did not dictate, again, offensive line, defensive line. Texas Tech needed to show physical superiority last night. And I still believe they could, but they didn't. Why didn't they? Did they not do it because they're not good enough? I believe those guys are better football players than what they showed last night. Did they not do it because they didn't commit to it? And by that, I mean that by play calling, by whatever the game plan was going to be after the initial 17-0, wow, look what we have. They didn't do it. But you needed to rob their soul, and particularly with the Tech offensive line early on in that game. And maybe they thought they'd done it at 17-0. That could have been the worst thing that happened at Tech. That a 7-7 start and then go, okay, we got to strap it on and go play from here. Maybe that's completely different. Maybe you have a completely different mindset late in the first quarter into the second quarter, and it evolves into what I thought was going to be the 38-17 game. That I thought it was going to be a touchdown or so at the half, 10 points third, and that you stretched it out there in the fourth, and that you beat them down. And that's completely how it played out for one team, Wyoming against Texas Tech. Which gets us, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about Oregon. They damn near killed the Duck last night. Did you see that? The Duck doing push-ups damn near died. I'm very worried about the Duck. We'll have plenty of time to see what is next and how they handle it. We'll have the assemblage of media tomorrow at 12:30 in the Spike Dykes film room or media room, whatever they call it. And we'll see how they handle it. But they did not dictate the way they should. Got to hit the Seymour so I can see some of the comments. By the way, you guys get on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197, just like the radio show. Just like the radio show. It's just easy. It's simple. Anyone can use it. Damon, I would rather whip the dog snot out of SFA at home rather than go on the road out of the gate again for the first game of the season. All right, interesting philosophical discussion there. I love playing Wyoming. I love the fact that they went to Wyoming. I love that. Go win. I've seen them not whip the dog snot out of Stephen F. in Arkansas State and fill in the blank, UTEP. So I'd almost just soon go to Wyoming and find out. Peasley knowledge of his offense, 12th man on the field. Yeah. He's good. Really impressed me. And let's say it all together. Tight ends are people too. The tight end position, utilized properly in college and National Football League football, is a thing of beauty. If only Tech had some really big, tall guys that seem to be good athletes and physical. If only they had some guys like that. No successful adjustments after going at 17-0. Couldn't match Wyoming's desperation. They took Tech to the train station. Allen's been waiting all summer to use the train station reference. My friend F. Scott Fitzgerald, the legendary F. Scott, thumbs up, hearts, all that for F. Scott, one of the greatest radio guys not on radio right now. By the way, I can make a case that about the 6 best radio show hosts do not do radio in Lubbock right now. Did he say that out loud? I believe he did. Why don't we throw to our tight ends? We have a 6'9" tight end that don't utilize in the red zone against 5'10" corners. That's a damn good question, Derek. Why don't they? I don't know. Is that on your quarterback? Is that on your play caller? Is that on your scheme? There are times over the last year or two that I've watched Texas Tech offensively go, you got too many choices. Chris, yep, you learn more from this team playing a game like this than some FCS school. I agree. I'm for it. I'd rather do that. Apropos of nothing. York, a 6'5" receiver, beat a 5'11" DB to Tech's credit. That is true. That is true. What do they list him at, by the way? Do I hold on a second? I've got to go to my depth chart and I need a height. I need a height weight. Can somebody get me a height weight real quick? Did I not print that portion out? What the hell are you doing, Hyatt? I want to see the weight on that. I don't have that portion on there. Oh well, that's my problem. That's my fault. The tech release each week is about 45 pages. You think I'm going to print the whole thing? No, I'm not going to do it. 806-772-0197 off the United Supermarkets text line, Market Street. 114th slide, Evie Mae's Barbecue. There. That's all you need to know. Oregon may break the scoreboard next week. I don't think so. I think it'll end up being a really competitive game. Modest fortune, Oregon -7. All right. Do what you got to do. There are a lot of people, if that thing moves to 7.5 tonight, which, hold on. Let's see what we got here. Are we still 6.5? We've gone back to 6.5. There's been a lot of buyback, as I thought there would be on some Texas Tech. There were a lot of sharps last night, faraway places and others that were hoping to see some 7.5s, 7s to get a little Tech. I think some people were surprised, actually, that the number wasn't more. I'm seeing 1 7, 3 6.5s, and that total is now up to 66.5. Oh yeah, going back to scheduling. I was watching this morning, flipping around, and it was one of those SEC like 30 for 30 deals, SEC storied. Anyways, it was on George Rogers, the Heisman Trophy winner from South Carolina in 1980, which always fascinated me as a kid because, of course, Jim Carlin, the former Tech coach, had gone to South Carolina. And every time I saw South Carolina in the 70s and stuff, they were wearing Tech's uniforms. And I couldn't figure out why they were wearing Tech's uniforms. Yeah, 5.5 or 6 by Friday. I think we're going to hover around 6.5 maybe, if it didn't move massively. So anyhow, I'm watching this, and I was fascinated, obviously, by South Carolina because if you look at go back and look at some pictures of George Rogers playing at South Carolina, they're wearing Tech's 1973 uniform. Exactly. Anyway, but going back to scheduling, the year he wins the Heisman, they opened up. They play Wichita State. Somebody else that wasn't that good, but anyway, they play on the road at USC, and they play on the road at Michigan. Man, I miss scheduling like that. And when we expand the playoff, we've got a better chance of getting some games like that. We really do. Off the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. Ultimately, we need to learn to win on the road. Yes. And the only way to do that is playing road games and winning them. So, yeah. But, yeah, I was watching that this morning, and I was just thinking about the non-conference scheduling, and it kind of goes back into the idea that Tech hasn't won a road opener outside the state of Texas since 1966 at Kansas. That was the home-and-home series that the year before it was stopped in the fourth quarter in Lubbock because of a tornado. My dad and my mom were at that game. My dad, according to reports, my dad refused to leave, thinking that they were going to keep going. There's a tornado, Dad. They're all gone. Same guy who would never leave a game early. But for a lot of those years, if Tech was playing a road opener, they were paycheck games. That in the Jerry Moore years, in the 70s, in the 60s, that's just what you did. You just played people. And you had pretty good schedules, and all you cared about was winning the Southwest Conference and going to the Cotton Bowl, and nothing else really mattered. You won 7, 8, or 9 games. You got to go to a bowl game. You win 7 games. You might not go to a bowl game back then. 8, 9, 10 win teams went to bowl games. So in the 70s, you had that series with USC, which were home openers. So you had that road opener. I don't know that Washington was a road opener. I think that was a little later in the season. But you were playing some pretty decent teams back then. Colorado was on the schedule back in the 70s. Then in the 80s, that's when the Tech athletic department started to get poor, and they needed money. So that's when the paycheck game showed up. And that's when you started going to Florida State. That's when you start playing Miami, Spike had to play so many paycheck games at Penn State, at Ohio State, at Tennessee, at Georgia. The list, was long and prolific, and there were some close games, and there were some games you got the hell beat out of you. Penn State in 1995, the Monte Rager debut. Field Scoville, receiver for Texas Tech, now Dr. Scoville, on the field, warming up, and there's Brent Musburger doing the play-by-play, I think, with Gary Danielson there, or maybe it was Dick Vermeil. I think it was Dick Vermeil during his hiatus, maybe, from coaching. Anyhow, Brent talking lovingly of Field Scoville's grandfather, the father of the Cotton Bowl, and speaking in real time. And of course, his grandfather had passed. It was kind of awkward a little bit when it came out. Speaking of Colorado, TCU had a worse day. We'll get into the Big 12 Big Flop more tomorrow on the daily broadcast. Oh, yeah, we'll be with you tomorrow. We're working tomorrow. Press conference day, daily broadcast 6:30, Raiderland hot links, helmet stickers in the morning, theraiderland.com. Did everyone go read my column today? We always welcome your comments, theraiderland.com. 5 things we know on a Sunday. 5 things, not 1, not 2, not 6, 5. Labor Day is a communist holiday. Everybody ought to be working on it today. Did Colorado win total for your change? Yeah. Absolutely, it changed, I think, for some people. I was totally fascinated by that. Had no idea what to expect out of Colorado, certainly. But I think we discounted a lot of people on what exactly was TCU going to look like. They had to replace a lot. They had a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, Texas Tech went up and won Maurice Clarett the Heisman Trophy in 2002. I mean, there were a lot of years where Heisman Trophy candidates, a lot of highlights involved Texas Tech defenses. 1997 in Knoxville. He has receipts. He's got the receipts. Boy, people can't stand a confident man. They can't stand a guy who can back it up. And they have doubted his intelligence every step of the way, and they're wrong. Helped Seneca Wallace highlight films on his 75-yard run for 15 yards. Tommy Frazier in 1994. You're too young to remember that. That was a Thursday night game at Jones Stadium with under 40,000 in attendance that day. Brad Smith, the Michael Jordan of college football, according to Lyle Setensich. Oh. Coach Prime, thank you. Coach of the year. And I mean, for all we know, we sat and watched 2 bad teams yesterday. I don't know. I did feel for Sonny. You guys know we go way back and everything. And that had to be, from a coaching standpoint, take all the extraneous stuff around it, really hard to prepare for a team. And I'm not bailing out TCU. They should have won. TCU should have won that game. But you are really flying blind on personnel that they're going to use, on how they're going to use them, what they're going to do. You're scouting coaches. You were scouting the coaches more than the players. You had no idea. So from a preparation standpoint, Colorado really actually had a lot going for them, and still do. Small sample size. You can use the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. Recapping Texas Tech and Wyoming. We see what happens from here. Your ox was in a ditch. You shot yourself in the foot. Now what do? Colorado flying athleticism and swagger and backing it up. Yep. Look like they're ready to come back to the Big 12. Absolutely. Love them. Have a good, healthy Colorado. I can be a Colorado fan. I've spoken fondly many times over the years of trips to Boulder and enjoy that part of the world. We got the old Big 8 rivalry back in the day, Colorado and Nebraska. For some reason, I always think of the Colorado-Nebraska games being played in cold weather, bad AstroTurf, sleet, rain, something. You know, you'd watch Tech in the afternoon, you'd get home, and it'd be raining there in Boulder, just like colder than hell. Did TCU play to win or not to lose to Prime? I think they played to win. Will we see Morton on the field Saturday? Don't know. We'll get to that question as we go through. I texted a very prominent, high-profile Lubbock sports media member last night regarding the Texas Tech quarterback room. And I might even tell you what I texted him later on this week. Texas State and Baylor. Listen, Baylor, and again, we'll discuss this more tomorrow. The brain drain in Waco is real. What Dave Aranda has lost in the coaching and recruiting ranks. Where's my hand? I don't know what to do with my hand. Really, where to put my hand. So we're at a really fast car. I had a really good car today. What has happened to Baylor is as much the coaches and the recruiters as the players that they don't have. You know? Always on Black Friday. What the hell does that mean? Well, I got to get racial all of a sudden. Yes, my son is indeed playing football this year. When you have 8 home games, it's important to win them. Yeah. United Supermarket text line. Do you think Tech will regroup for Oregon? Like when regroup? I didn't think Tech was going to beat Oregon before the season started. I didn't think Tech was going to beat Oregon yesterday at this time. And I don't think Tech's going to beat Oregon this week. Could they? Yeah. You know, you're only a touchdown dog at home. Did you beat them? Yeah. Sure. Do I think they will regroup? Yeah, I think they'll play better. I think Tech could play appreciably better and get beat. I think Tech could play. This to me is the most talented football team Tech will play all year in Oregon. They are the best football team, talent-wise, that Tech will play. Better than Texas, better than Oklahoma. Yawn. Yeah. They're going to get blown out like the Twitterverse. Twitter's an ugly cesspool. Be very careful with Twitter. At Ryan Hyatt Media to follow us on Twitter. Join us on Twitter Live. Utilize the United Supermarkets text line on YouTube. By the way, everybody who's watching, be sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Be sure you subscribe to that. The more subscribers we have, the more stuff gets out. And it really allows us to do more stuff. Fortunately, they don't play Oklahoma this year. I'm not buying it. Oklahoma showed me nothing yesterday. There are still 2 or 3 for sure losses looming out there for Oklahoma, just like there are for sure 2 or 3 losses looming for Texas. Texas in the first half, did you watch any of that against Rice? No. Hey, Fern. You do have 4 extremely winnable games after Oregon, and you better go get them. Was it me or was there a ton of low snaps? Yeah. Stats had several low snaps, including one late that threw off the timing. Was that 2-point play, defensive end blew it? Yeah. There was a snap late that threw off the timing on one, and then the 2-point play that you don't get. Credit to the defensive end who just absolutely blew that play up there on the edge. Keeping you from what would have extended the game, obviously. Yeah, batted balls. And again, well-coached team, physical, good team. Good things happen if you're a defensive lineman and you just randomly throw your arms up in the air when guys are passing. It is so few guys do it. And most of those guys are now 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". And so few of them. X, formerly known as Twitter, makes me laugh. Yeah, there were a lot of batted balls into the line. I have quarterback thoughts, and I always feel bad because ain't got nothing against number 12. Great number. A few more minutes if you want to get in. You can utilize the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197. Be sure and sign up on our YouTube channel if you haven't already done that. Wherever you're watching this, obviously follow us on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, theraiderland.com. Every morning we're there. Hot link. Are you guys? That everybody that's with us? Are you guys digging the hot links that I'm throwing out there every morning? scouring the internet for you, putting out cool stuff that I like, sports or otherwise. Hat tip, Joe Kinsey, screencapsoutkick.com. Great stuff. I emailed him. I said, I'm absolutely doing the West Texas version. You guys liking that? Because I'm having fun doing it. I don't care if people like it or not. It's fun for me. James, I nearly stopped in at Ropes at the gas station Friday on your way to Wellman for a six-man game. You should have. Drive the local economy. The people need the jobs. Okay, glad you guys are liking the hot links. If you, yeah, that's why we try to get them out there in the morning. If you dig them and you see stuff, put it in the comments section. Okay? Yeah, still waiting on the Isaac Smith deal. Put it in the comments section, and we can put it in the next day's run, or people can do it. But that's every morning, theraiderland.com. Tomorrow you'll be handing out Raiderland helmet stickers, sports or otherwise. Scouring the internet to bring you the constant variety of sports. Dun, 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 dun. Yep. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. From cliff diving in Mexico to the Harlem Globetrotters in Honolulu, this is Raiderland Hot Links. The Rangers came all the way back. Good. I had a friend who had the Rangers today, and between dog cussing the bullpen and everything else, go. No word on injuries. They have been very forthcoming. What we know is what he talked about after the game. We'll find out tomorrow. They've been really forthcoming, this staff, about injuries, who's out, who's going to play, who's not going to play. They've not tried to be deceptive and not pull any of that garbage. They'll say straight up, guys hurt, this is what we got, this is what we're dealing with. I really appreciate about this staff. Coming soon, mandatory injury reports to the Big 12. They will mimic what the Big 10 is doing, by the way. They'll probably institute that. They might do it this year, maybe. Next year for sure. You will see the Big 12 have an NFL-style injury report. Coco Gauff, 19-year-old tennis star. Good story. Is she playing again? I thought she quit. She went in the U.S. Open? I don't pay attention to tennis much anymore. Quarterback commit Hammond's the real deal. Nothing around her. I don't know that much about that Hutto team. I know they've had some really good teams, over the last several years. But he threw for like 900 yards the other night? Some sort of 80 to 70 game on Friday. Man, it's like a pitcher. Slow down. Don't use up his arm before he gets here. It'd be horrible. Thank you, Domino's Pizza, for being a great sponsor here in Raiderland. Thank you, Pete's Tire Service, for helping my family out numerous times. They can handle the biggest tire challenge you have, from those big old tractors to just your regular little old car. SMU already talking smack in DFW. Yeah, I saw the crowd yesterday. Keep on talking, Lashley. ACC ain't ready for y'all. That's like having a Costco membership and you're not allowed to shop at Costco. Sounds like a Mahomes game while at Tech. Yeah, a little bit high scoring, to say the least. All right, you guys share this. We'll put this on the website here in just a little bit. theraiderland.com. We got to say goodbye to the wonderful folks watching on YouTube and on Twitter or X or whatever it else is. So we have to end broadcast. End broadcast, yes. Now I got to hit it again. How many questions are you going to ask me?